All right, hello, this is Ed Brock, editor with Asian Hospitality Magazine, and I'm here with Vinay Patel. He's the vice chairman of AHOA, and we're going to talk about his transition to the chairmanship in August. How are you doing, sir?
Pretty good yourself?
Good, good. Well, as I mentioned, come August, you're going to be the new chairman, but there'll also be, or AHOA will be looking for, a new president and CEO following Cecil Statton's resignation. And I wanted to ask you, does this change in leadership represent a new phase in AHOA's existence, and in what direction would you like the association to move?
No, at the end of the day, I think the direction that we're in and the new strategic plan that we kind of outlaid over the last probably year or so is still in play. I think what will change is the fact, how do you get to that? It's just a matter, I think the strategy and our long-term focus and what the association for the membership and what we're doing, I don't think will change, but it's just how do you get to that end goal is we probably will look at different options, especially with the new leadership coming in on the leadership side there.
Well, it's a little unusual to have two senior members of management leave like they did. Can you tell me a little bit more about what led to that? Was it their decision or was it a board decision?
It was probably a combination of it all. I mean, it's just one of those things where we just want to kind of move in a direction that made sense for all of us. And so we just felt like, hey, look, maybe this is an opportunity to kind of, give everybody what they needed to get done. And so it was probably a mutual thing on all parties there.
Okay. Do you think it will lead to sort of a structural change in the way the leadership is organized?
No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, obviously, even in my own hotels, when management changes or people change, we look at the structural position and say, hey, look, do we need this? Do we not need this? Maybe we could do, well, maybe we need to add more. So obviously, the new leadership team will look at and analyze what is needed and what is not needed and make the decision accordingly. So, I think that the new leader that we'll hire will be in a position to at least kind of look at the different options, especially given the fact that we've had the top two people leaving. We've got a lot of new people, the VP of franchising, VP of education, we've got VP of government affairs, a lot of the new team members that came on board over the last probably 4 to 6 months. We've got a lot of new team members there. So I think it's just a matter of, okay, let's reanalyze what we have and see what options we have. And the key thing here is just to making sure that we serve the best interest of our membership. Our priority has always been our membership. But what we've learned over the last probably 18 months have been a lot of unknowns. And I myself, within my own business, looking ahead is a lot of unknowns. So when you look at the association and looking at our members' interests and what priorities we have, a lot of unknowns. But at the end of the day, we have to kind of pivot and make changes as issues and problems arise. And so I think in terms of priorities are going to be probably the same as what we had in the past. But obviously, if there's something that comes up urgently or something that's important, that's more important than something that was before, we'll always shift our priorities to what's the most in the best interest of our membership. In terms of the Delta variant, we're obviously looking and keeping our ears on the appeal to make sure that, hey, look, we're making sure we're making the best decisions on the best interest of our members here. So that is always on top of mind, and the safety and just the concerns of our membership. When you look back, and I know when I traveled across the country, back in 2018 and 2019, you talked to our membership and members said, hey, look, you guys are doing a lot of things on the federal side, but we're taking a lot of, we're having a lot of issues on the state and a local level. And so we just didn't have the resources from the association perspective. And so we said, hey, look, and AHLA had probably similar issues with their membership group as well. So how do you kind of use each other's resources to make sure that we can maximize the dollar amount that we have, and to just make sure to focus on the state level, a lot of local level as well. I mean, a lot of issues that happen on city by city, state by state, and just the resources that AHOA has and even AHLA has. We just don't have enough resources, boots on the ground to kind of cover all 50 states. And so we felt that this was a good opportunity, kind of take advantage of each other's strengths and weaknesses and mitigate the weaknesses, and then make sure we can deliver for our membership. A lot of things changed, obviously, with the election last year. A lot of things have changed over the last probably 6 months, and we're playing more defense now. I mean, as far as from a legislative side, I think prior to this, during the Trump administration, we're playing more offense and trying to go after things that we really wanted. But right now, it's just more of a defensive position, making sure that what we do have, we protect that before it changes. Tax reform has really benefited many of our members over the last couple of years, and we want to make sure we protect those tax reforms You know, 1031 exchange has been something that's been on the subject matter. Obviously, capital gains. I mean, many of our members buy and sell hotels, and so that impacts the value of a hotel. So I'm selling a hotel, capital gains is going to be a lot larger. So right now, it's just more of a defensive game to kind of protect what we do have in terms of legislative priorities and whatever's in the best interest. I mean, right now, a lot of things are changing a lot of as far as in the Senate and even on the House side, they're all very close in terms of how Republicans and Democrats. And so how do you kind of make sure that we're protecting the members' assets here? I think the association has a great role. I mean, I think one of the things when you look at the franchisor-franchisee relationship, and I think the association over the last 20, 30 years have evolved and kind of moved in the direction of making sure that we protect the members' assets. And if you look at even my own hotels, and I think probably many of our member hotels, the margins are a lot thinner today than they were probably 10 years ago. My NOIs are a lot thinner. And it's a lot of things, you talk about franchise costs, OTA costs, technology costs. A lot of these things have really put pressure on the hoteliers. And so when you start looking at some of the costs that the brands put upon us, we want to make sure that, hey, look, if there's an opportunity that, hey, do we need to kind of cut back on things? How do you kind of maximize the benefit for our membership? We would want to be involved and have that dialogue. And I think that most of the members and most of our board and most of the association want to be able to help mitigate any kind of issues that the brands have. It's just how do you get to it? Somebody may say roll up your sleeves and do this, and somebody may say do it different ways. But I think the dialoguing, making sure that we have the right things on our side, and having that open line of communication between the brands. Because if you don't have that communication, again, like I said, the contract is between the franchisor and the franchisee. The association really has no business in that contract. So we don't really have much of a say, but how do you kind of have common things? And it's one of the things I think from my personal side as well, looking ahead over the next 6 to 12 months as chair, is to kind of pick out two or three things from the brand, from our franchisees, and say, look, this is a very hot topic for us, whether it be vendor things we buy or whatever it is, and let's focus on those 2 or 3 things, and let's have some wins here. Because I think right now, in the past, we're just going all across the board and saying, do this, do that. We want a lot of different things here and hearing a lot of different things. But I think that we should focus on 2 to 3 items that are hot and that's common amongst all the brands, and say, hey, look, guys, this is a big issue. This is a legitimate issue, right? And there's a lot of things that really make a big difference from operators' perspective. And so how do you kind of mitigate some of these costs and have a dialogue with the brands? I think it's fair, nothing wrong with having a hard conversation. I mean, sometimes it is what it is, but I personally don't have any problems going to a brand or any vendor or anywhere as long as you feel comfortable in your skin and saying, hey, look, this is the wrong thing and this is really, really impacting us in a negative way. At the end of the day, the brand or anybody can just, they could say no, whatever, but at least I think we should make an active and resilient attempt to do it. Yeah, it's been a challenge. I mean, if you look back at our November board meeting and term plans, we've been planning this over the last probably 8 to 12 months. And back in September, October, November, we didn't know that we were planning for a 6-foot social distancing. So our general sessions are 6 foot apart. Our booths are 30-foot wide aisles, and then as you go through the process, as things are loosening up, we're pivoting as things come along. So adding on the welcome reception, we just added that on just a few weeks ago, as some sort of a smaller entertainment is included now. So it's been challenging because you just don't know, and it's hard to prepare. So here you are, literally 60, 90 days. And here trying to do something that you should have been doing probably 6 months ago, but just the fact that we just don't know what we could do. But I think that our team has done a great job in putting things together. We should have a great convention. We're expecting a good, we're budgeting for around 4,500, 6,000 people. I think, somewhere in that range. I know it's a large gap there, but I think so far it should be good. And then even the trade show, this will be the largest trade show ever for any of the trade shows we've been. So as far as the number of vendor partners that are signed up for the booths, this will be the largest one. So I think it's an incredible accomplishment if you think about it, to have a convention right after COVID and then to come back with a convention with that size and that magnitude. And like I said, we'll execute it really well from a safety perspective, working with a lot of our vendor partners to make sure that, cleanliness, antiseptic, masks, and whatever we need to do to make sure that our members get a great experience and a safe experience is what we're looking at. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be a great show. And I think our members are excited. I mean, I just talking to a lot of different people over the last probably couple of months, especially when the deadline started happening as far as to register, we've seen a huge increase in people wanting to come there. So we're looking forward to this conference.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me today, and I'm excited about the convention as well. So I'll see you there.
Great. Thank you very much.